Ben Affleck, A Very Ungrateful Narcissist, Part 7. We continue our analysis of the behaviours of Ben Affleck to make a determination with regard to what he is. We now turn to the recent Howard Stern interview, which thrust questions about Affleck's conduct and behaviour into the spotlight. He appeared on Howard Stern, and it was reported in the New York Post as follows. Ben Affleck felt trapped in his marriage to Jennifer Garner, pity play, blame shifting, and thinks he wouldn't have got sober had he stayed, blame shifting. We probably would have ended up at each other's throats. I probably still would have been drinking. Affleck, 49, recently said on Sirius XM's The Howard Stern Show. Part of why I started drinking was because I was trapped. Affleck, who went to rehab for alcoholism in 2018, continued, I was like, I can't leave because of my kids, but I'm not happy. What do I do? What I did was, I drank a bottle of scotch and fell asleep on the couch, which turned out not to be the solution. The behaviour at the time evidences an absence of emotional empathy for his children and Garner, a lack of accountability for his own behaviours by not seeking to do something about it and operating with a sense of entitlement. The New York Post article continues. The actor added that he and 49-year-old Garner, who were married from 2005 to 2018, tried to work on their marriage for the sake of their 3 children. Affleck reflected on his drinking problem while being married to Jennifer Garner. Ultimately, we tried because we had kids, but both of us felt like we didn't want this to be the model that our kids see of marriage. Well, certainly Garner would believe that because of your behaviour, Mr. Affleck. He explained that the tabloids had it wrong about their breakup. Everything you read in the news about the divorce was bullshit. The truth was we took our time, we made our decision, we grew apart. He said we had a marriage that didn't work. This happens. She's somebody I love and respect, but to whom I shouldn't be married any longer. Well, no doubt many people would share that sentiment, that you shouldn't be married to her because of your behaviour. The Argo actor said his marriage to Garner ended on good terms. We did it amicably. We did our best. Did we have moments of tension? Did we have disagreements over custody? Was stuff difficult for us? Did we get angry? Yes. But fundamentally it was always underpinned with a respect, he said, adding, I knew she was a good mum. Flattery. I always hoped she knew I was a good dad. I knew I was. Affleck also revealed that once he hit rock bottom, it took 1.5 years to get sober. The cure for addiction is suffering. You suffer enough that something inside you goes, I'm done, he said of getting clean. I'm lucky because I hit that point before I lost the things that were most important. Not my career or money, it was my relationship with my kids. When I felt as if it impacted them, I recognised it. Facade management. Affleck added, it was the worst day of my life. I made amends, but since that day, I swear to Christ, I have not ever wanted to drink once. Of course, we've seen repeated relapses in his behaviour, driven, of course, by his sense of entitlement, the need to assert control, a lack of accountability, and an absence of emotional empathy. The Gone Girl star admitted the public dissolution of his marriage to Garner briefly gave him pause when it came to rekindling his aughts-era romance with Jennifer Lopez. It crossed my mind for sure. My responsibility to my children is the highest responsibility I have, facade management. So I'm not going to do anything that's painful or destructive to them if I can help it, he said. That being said, I know that my life affects them. Well, if he is so aware of it, why didn't he moderate his behaviours accordingly, instead of blaming it on his wife, that he was the reason that he drank? He added, me and their mum are celebrities, and that's hard. Let's not bullshit each other, right? That's a fucking cross to bear. That's an albatross already. And then during the divorce, you know they printed horrible lies. Blame shifting in terms of saying it's the celebrity that caused the problem rather than it being his own behaviours. Affleck and Lopez, who were engaged in their early 2000s, started dating again in April 2021. There then followed reaction to all of this, which stated, Ben Affleck says it hurts his feelings that his confessional blaming his doomed marriage to Jennifer Garner for his alcoholism are being used to make him look like the worst, most insensitive, stupid, awful guy. Notice that there's nothing being said at that juncture about how it affects his ex-wife or his children. Self-absorption. And indeed, his need for control is such that when there is the backlash with regard to his selfish, self-absorbed comments that show an absence of emotional empathy for his ex-wife, that threatens his sense of control. The facade is coming under threat. And therefore, as a consequence of that, what is his response? Well, he can't directly assert control over each and every individual who has passed comment about him in an adverse way. One possibility would be that he just keeps his mouth shut. But no. His narcissism, through the indirect assertion of control, caused him to appear on his pal Jimmy Kimmel's late-night show on Wednesday. And therefore, he quickly brought up his controversial radio chat with Howard Stern, because, of course, his narcissism required that he assert control in this fashion. And he said it was a really cool, long-form, in-depth 2-hour interview. Deflection, diminution of what it was really going on. We talked a lot about my family, divorce and alcoholism, and how you have to be accountable and loving, he said of the chat in which he said he'd started drinking because he was trapped with Garner. I was really happy with it, he told Kimmel, which shows again a degree of lack of awareness that not only having blame shifted onto Garner with his observations about feeling trapped and therefore that made him drink, that he basically goes and says, I was happy with the interview, thus doubling down on the observations it had already made. He said he left thinking he should do more honest, exploratory, self-evaluating interviews. Grandiosity. Then I start seeing all this stuff come up on Twitter, and I was like, what's this? He said, blaming clickbait for reporting verbatim quotes in which he also said he'd likely still be drinking if he hadn't left Garner. Blame shifting. The star, who arrived hand-in-hand with current love Jennifer Lopez, facade management, assertion of control, did not deny that he had said the things being widely reported. But he claimed that they had literally taken the conversation that I had had for 2 hours and made it seem as if I was saying the exact opposite of what I had said. Blame shifting, rejection of accountability. It said that I had blamed my ex-wife for my alcoholism, that I was trapped in this marriage, just made me out to be the worst, most insensitive, stupid, awful guy, he said of the first story he read, repeating the quotes that saw him roundly attacked. That's not true, he said. Rejection of accountability. I don't believe that. It's the exact opposite of who I am, what I believe, and I would never want my kids to ever say a bad word about their mum. Facade management, he said of the cruel words about his actress ex. Joking that he was happy to be sad Batman and the meme guy, he said he drew the line at his interview being repeated because it was hurting his kids. It hurts my feelings, man, he said of the backlash, calling it inappropriate. Pity play. However, not everyone was buying his defence. Day 2 of @Ben Affleck and his bullshit again, one critic tweeted. No accountability for his own problems. It's our fault for not taking his side if the world was dragging Jennifer Garner for actually being the problem in that Peter Pan's life. He would be silent on Kimmel Boy. Bye, said another. Another said the star was running his mouth again, while someone else tweeted how the star blamed us to misinterpret him and it still isn't his problem. This guy knows exactly what will happen, but will still say all the rude things to his family. The revelations, of course, with regard to his ex-wife and blaming her for his drinking shows an absence of emotional empathy, blame shifting, the need to assert control, a lack of accountability, and then the repetition of those where, when he senses unconsciously a threat to his control, causes him to then go on another show without any due regard for how that might make his family feel, and repeat the allegations, but purely from the purpose of defending himself. He doesn't talk about the impact it has upon her. He just talks about himself. A pity play, self-absorption, deflection, and denial. Before we wrap up, in terms of is he a narcissist, with the evidence increasing each moment, but to also underpin what aspects are demonstrated, perhaps we are best leaving the final word to Jennifer Garner, who once said, "He's the love of my life. He's the most brilliant person in any room. The most charismatic, the most generous. He's just a complicated guy. I always say, when his sun shines on you, you feel it. But when the sun is shining elsewhere, it's cold. He can cast quite a shadow." Join me in part 8 as we reach the determination of whether Ben Affleck is a very ungrateful narcissist, and if so, why.